Okay, it's January 20th, 2024. Today I want to read a letter that I had written to Caleb. Now, I've been watching Caleb and Preston wrestle all day, not being able to actually watch them wrestle, but keep track of their stats. They're having another amazing weekend. They both won their matches last night. They haven't lost a match today. I think Caleb's won 3, Preston's won 2. And I was reminded of this letter I had written to Caleb back in September 2nd, 2020. So I'm going to read you this letter just to kind of give you an idea of my heart. I had journaled it. I wrote it in my journal. And I didn't even remember that I had written this, and I read it a few weeks ago, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So here it goes. This is written to Caleb, I think. Let me see. Sorry, a lot of dust here. Today I made one of the hardest decisions I have ever made. Upon receiving a call from Jessica in Florida, letting me know that our landlord at Arbor Court wanted to confirm we would be leaving October 15th, I said yes. This means we are leaving Sarasota behind for good. I wanted to stay in Sarasota, but could not bring myself to do it because of how rebellious my wife Jessica was being, and because of how Caleb was fighting to go into the world. I believe the Lord hardened my heart against them to get me to make this tough decision. Immediately after making the decision to 100% let this amazing home in Sarasota go, I felt extreme sorrow for my son Caleb. I am sad that we are taking him from school, work, friends. I love Caleb and pray that what we are doing is God's will. To Caleb, I ask that you find it in your heart to forgive me for my failures as your father. I pray this difficult journey I am choosing to take my family on works out for us. My faith in the Lord says it will, but I am not without fear. I am sorry you were raised in a yelling and chaotic household. As the thick and ever so tall steel doors of opportunity to escape this government are closing faster and faster every day, I feel now is the time to flee. I am sincerely sorry that this is happening as you are turning into a man and seeking to make your own path in life. And so, Caleb and Preston finding a school, finding a wrestling program, I am ecstatic. I'm so happy. It doesn't make me sad at all. It doesn't make me angry, because I was sad that I was taking them from that, you see. And so that they have it. Last year it was probably at least a year and a half, maybe a little longer. I was listening to this program on some blog on YouTube, and it was talking about Florida wrestlers that have promising futures. And they were naming off all the kids Caleb used to beat. Vince Bouzakis, Boss Diaz, Michael Kersey, all these kids Caleb beat. He beat Vince Bouzakis for 2 state championships. He beat Boss Diaz a couple times. And they both traded back and forth. Like Vince would beat Caleb also, and Boss had beat Caleb also. But Michael Kersey had never beat Caleb, not once. And there was, countless other guys. Roman Lermer, whatever. He just got a scholarship. He won 2 state titles and just got a scholarship to Air Force. Caleb beat him. So there's many great guys that Caleb has beaten in his career. And they were naming all these guys that were just studs that are, looking at high school state titles, looking at college scholarships. And I felt so sad. I was so sad. I'm like, sorry, Caleb, I took you from that. Because he started wrestling when he was 3 years old. 3 years old, I had him in wrestling. And I took him out, I think, around 10 or 11 because he had that scalp issue. He kept getting the fungus on his head. And then we went to that tournament in Jersey. And he had like these little pimples. And he would just scream and cry. If I just barely touched him, he'd go, ah! And I thought, man, I can't have this. Like, you got to be tougher than that, you know. I'm not going to spend my money, my time. I'm not going to stress myself about having to buy 4 or 5 plane tickets. Because Mom wouldn't let me just take the boys. No. You got to take everyone. Like me and Andrea, everybody's got to go, right? So, like, having to transfer a whole family to another state and a hotel and dinners and all this stuff, it's expensive, Caleb. It's super expensive. And your mom did not make it easy on me because she was a jealous woman, thinking everywhere I went, you know, which a woman can't be jealous on a man, right? A man's responsible for his sin if he sleeps with another man's woman. But a man can have another wife. A man can have more than one woman. So really all that jealousy that she was experiencing was a sin on her part, right? And I didn't know this stuff back then. I played along with it, but the point is, I could not take you guys to do half the stuff I wanted to because I couldn't afford it. And then the stuff we did do was very financially overbearing on us, right? And of course, who gets blamed, right? Me. Oh, you don't make enough. How many times did I hear in my life, you don't make enough money from my wife, right? Had a successful business, was a successful salesman, all kinds of things, but never was enough for her. So, you know, when I take into consideration all the expenses I had with the traveling and the time and the labor and all these things I had to put into you guys, and then when I just touch your scalp, you go, ah! You know, it was frustrating. And that was the tournament that said, you know what, no more. I'm not doing it anymore, you know. And I felt bad. But here's one thing I think's come out of this good that I wasn't planning on. I'm glad. I'm glad it came out. I'm watching people like Christian Fretwell. He's been wrestling since he was 5 years old, too. His dad's a maniac. His dad's an absolute maniac. You watch Christian Fretwell wrestle, he doesn't care. He's been wrestling his whole life. He doesn't care one bit. He's just out there because his dad forces him to do it. He's not that great of a wrestler considering he's been wrestling for probably 15 years now. He's not even that great of a wrestler. You know, he's good. He beats all the average Joes, but he can't beat the top of the top. He's not the Hammer. You know, he's not like a Bouzakis, right? And Nick Bouzakis started when he was 10, and he was the second highest rated, recruit in the nation last year or 2 years ago. Now he's wrestling for Ohio State. And his little brother, Nick Bouzakis, is one of the top rated in the country right now. And that's who Caleb beat for 2 state titles when he was, I think, 8 or 9. But, you know, I'm just using Christian Fretwell as an example. These guys, they don't have any heart. They don't really care. So pulling Caleb out of wrestling when he was 11 years old after having been wrestling since he was 3 might have been a good thing, because what he's doing now, he's doing from his heart and from his own intensity and from his own desire. He's only wrestled 1 year in high school. This is his senior year of high school. He didn't even go to school his freshman, sophomore, junior year because we were homeschooled, which they didn't really do that much. And not my fault. I paid for all my kids' homeschooling. Andrea soared, okay? Andrea, 4.6 GPA, got a scholarship, or got into Florida State, graduated Florida State. She's probably in her first year of law school by now. But Caleb and Preston, man, it didn't matter. I spent thousands of dollars on their homeschooling. They didn't do anything with it. We couldn't get them. We couldn't beg them. They were just horrible. Now, a lot of it's their mom's fault because she didn't know how to be a mother in that aspect. You could ask her, like, what's 9 times 7, and she'd freeze up. She'd be like, don't ask me that, right? My fault, I married the woman. I wouldn't change it because of my babies that I have. But what Caleb's doing, he's wrestling, and same with Preston too. Preston, I think, is, he's got a really good record now. I think he's up to like 25-3. Caleb's up to probably 30-2 on the year. So they're doing what they're doing out of love, out of passion, out of drive, out of desire. That is worth easily 3 years of high school wrestling, right? So they could have been wrestling from freshman, sophomore, junior. But the drive that Caleb has to do this in his final year, his final chance, there's a lot of great wrestlers that he's not going to get a chance to wrestle this season. And he might come in front, he might have to wrestle them for a state title. So he's obviously going to wrestle in the state championships, but I don't know how high he'll get, but there's a chance, I don't know. I'm holding out hope, maybe he could win a state title. It'd be a miracle, right? It'd be a miracle, but even if he doesn't, he could maybe still walk on to some, Division II, Division III, maybe JUCO college. I don't know, that has a wrestling program. I don't know. I think he can still go. I think he can still get some kind of college paid for it. I still think he can pull something out of this. And I don't know. So anyways, I just wanted to read that letter to show. I'm glad I had written this. I had forgotten all about this letter. And it's record. It's just record of what Jessica was going through. Jessica was so rebellious, so overbearing before we came to Mexico. And I have record of it right here. I have record. And that counts. That counts. When you write something down and you log it and the date and all that, that counts. That could be used in a court of law, right? And I have that. So all praise and glory to God that he's led me. I'm going through what a lot of men are going through in the world. Thank God that I have a house, I have a truck, I have my life. I have all these things that my wife didn't take and using with other men right now. Thank God. All right. I love you guys. Bye. Lila, Manuel, Preston, Caleb. Love and miss you every day. Bye.